everybody, welcome to another episode of the Star Sitdown. Today we have a longtime friend of mine. I've known her since I think I was in the 6th or 7th grade. She's the current drum major of the Texas State Marching Band, Miss Samantha Hernandez.
Hello. Hi, Kim.
Hi Sam, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been I had a long night last night, so I'm currently running on, I think, 4 hours of sleep-ish, but I'm making it through the day.
What happened?
I don't know what happened, honestly. I don't know. I stayed up pretty late on Saturday night because we had a late football game. I got home late and I was like, well, I want to watch Halloween movies, like if I can't do anything else. So I watched movies. I was up till probably like 3 or 4, which is not normal for me. I usually try to go to bed at a decent time. Decent time, not a good time, but a decent time. And my Sunday I was catching up all day on Sunday. So that's what happened.
How's this football season been with the marching band?
The football season has been good. It does look a lot different. We haven't been having as many games. I don't know how far, I don't know how many weeks. I think we're 10 weeks into the semester, but we've only had 3 games. Like
Oh
this
wow.
past Saturday. Yeah, this past Saturday was our third game. We had like a 5-week, 6-week little break in between the first 2 games. So we just came back from a long time of not playing at football games.
And I keep seeing the pictures Professor Holzner posts on his Instagram with like everybody playing on the mask and playing outside. So
Yeah.
how's that been?
Um, it actually has not been too bad. I actually have one of the masks right here. I have it right here. I use it in my classes. I don't play an instrument in the marching band, but I play instrument in just my music classes because I'm a music major. So the masks are actually pretty cool. Let me show you. So this is the mask, and then like for us to be able to play our instruments, they have like this little hole right here. But it's not just like a hole. There's like a little cloth covering. So in order to play, you just lift that up and you slide your mouthpiece in there.
What the hell?
Yeah, like I have my horn right here. I was gonna practice after this. So you just slide. You literally, they say set. Gotta bring your horns up. You just like slide it on in. It takes getting used to. I'm still getting used to it. Then it's in.
That's
You just
insane.
play.
Yo, because I see all the pictures and I'm like, why are they wearing masks when they're
Yeah,
playing? But that's honestly that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. I'm not
yeah.
gonna
I know. I was like, whenever I first heard about it, I was like kind of shocked. I was like, masks with holes in them. Like that's interesting. But then like whenever we actually got them, like they're pretty. Like I'm pulling it wide open right now, and
lie.
there's nothing exposed. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was a perfect segue to my next question. Like when you had found out that everything was going online, like when did you find out you were a drum major?
So, oh gosh, like in April or May, the way that like we do like leadership auditions at Texas State, I think it's March, April, March, May. How does it work? What order did the months go in? January, February, March, April. March or April is whenever we start the like audition process, and you kind of fill out an application, say you're interested. For section leader positions, okay, for anyone who's not familiar with band, I'm gonna have a hard time with this because Kim
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I have been in band together for like 6 years. 6 years, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I
It was
think
a long time.
it was a
Yeah.
long time. So we can just talk about band, but not everyone was in band together for 6 years. So whenever you're in marching band, um, there's kind of like student leaders. So like if you play the trumpet, for example, you might be a freshman, you're going in, and you might have a section leader who is an upperclassman who is kind of designated as the person that you direct all your questions to, the person that kind of answers all your questions and then teaches you how to hold your instrument, how to play it in the marching band setting, all of that. So each section, each instrument in the marching band has a section leader. And then in the Bobcat Marching Band, we have section leaders and we have drum majors who are the people that conduct the shows. Um, usually, if you've seen a marching band show, they're the ones at the front of the field on like the big ladders with the white uniforms on. Those are the drum majors. And you conduct the shows, and you also kind of assist section leaders with helping out their sections. So last year I played the French horn, and in the marching band, we don't play French horns, we play mellophones. It's like the equivalent. So I was a mellophone section leader last year, and this year I'm a drum major. So whenever we're doing kind of section rehearsals, section leaders will take over those rehearsals, and the drum majors will kind of float around to each section and help out. So I'm not glued to the mellophone section, even though that's what I played in marching band. I help out wherever I'm needed. Okay, your question was, so that's what the leadership hierarchy is in the Bobcat Marching Band. Your question was, okay, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, by the
You're
way.
good. You're
This is
good.
my
You're
4 hour of sleep mind. Surprisingly, I'm scattered everywhere. Okay, so we start the audition process in, I think, late March, maybe early April. I don't know. And you fill out an application if you're interested. For section leaders, the band directors will go through all of the applications, and they'll pick who is the most qualified and has, like, you write like a little statement about why you want to be in the leadership team in the Bobcat Marching Band, and they kind of go off of that. Whenever you're applying to be a drum major, you do all of that, and out of everybody who applied for a leadership position, band directors will pick about 10 people to go and do a live audition. And in the past years, the live audition is in person, and you teach someone how to march, I think, how to hold their instrument, so they can kind of get a sample of your teaching. They kind of want to hear you give some commands, so like how you are presenting yourself in front of a group. And then you also do an interview with the band staff. And there's a conducting portion because you conduct the band. It was a little bit different this year because we did it online. So they picked a few people out of the general application pool and asked them to submit themselves videos of themselves conducting 2 songs. One of them was like a show song that we would play on the field. Another one was the Star Spangled Banner. And they go through the videos. I think they invited 6 people to do an interview over Zoom. And so out of the people who did the interview, they would then pick 3 people to be the drum majors in the Bobcat Marching Band. So I did that process last spring, and I probably found out that I got selected, I think it was late April or early May. I think it was late April. So I've known for a while, and things have been kind of in the air. Like at that point, we weren't sure if we were returning in person or not at that point. So I think a lot of people are just really happy that we're able to do band in the first place, even if it does look a little bit different.
So, that kind of brings me to my next question. How have things been going, like in the music building, and have you guys been doing rehearsals? Because I remember, I think it was like in the beginning of semester, someone's picture went viral. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you remember on Twitter, and that was like the only thing I saw in regards to like the music. So how's that been going throughout the progression of the semester?
Right. So with marching band, we're able to do our rehearsals outside, which is good. We have a really we only rehearse in 2 places. It's either outside on our large practice field or outside at Bobcat Stadium in the stands where we stand for the football games. So we're able to have adequate spacing, good circulation. We're able to play our instruments no problem. We come in contact with a little bit of problems whenever we get to the music building. There are some things that like we need to adjust. Like for concert band, for example, if we're playing like in the band rehearsal room, it is a large space, but it's still a confined space. So air is not able to circulate as much, which is important whenever you're playing an instrument that requires you to blow into it. So in order to combat that, we do use the masks still in marching band, or that we use in marching band, we use them in concert band. And we also use covers on our instrument. Like I play the French horn, so
Oh,
this
okay.
is the French horn cover. It prevents, I have a really big bell, so usually I would blow into the horn and it would come out that huge bell, but every instrument uses bell covers, and on this one there's a smaller hole in it for me to put my hand in because that's how you play the instrument,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it prevents as much air from leaking out and circulate or coming into the room. So that's one way we do it. We also, where was I going with that? So we do that, and then we only allow 25 people to be performing, playing instruments in the band hall or in a rehearsal space, a large rehearsal space at a time, which I think on a normal year, it's around 60 that we have, and we're all like packed together. But this year we're doing, or this semester we're doing 25 people, and we're all spaced 6 feet apart, which is cool. But then we have to, like I mentioned with the air circulation earlier, that's a bit of an issue. So we do a maximum of 30 minutes in the room before we'll just pick up all of our stuff, our instruments, our music, anything that we need, and then just walk across the hall to the other rehearsal room and we just like set up again and continue our rehearsal. And we do 30 minutes in there. And then by the time we finish that session, the other room that we were just in has aired out enough for us to go back and rehearse in it. And we just kind of go back and forth for the whole rehearsal. And it sounds a bit silly. It is a bit weird to get used to, but I've actually found that it's better for me personally, like having that little break to like transition. In our rehearsals, we play a lot, like we play multiple pieces. So we're doing a different piece of music in each 30-minute session. So we're supposed to be more efficient with our time. So it's a little bit easier to stay engaged and get things done in like those 30-minute sessions for me. And I think a lot of people also.
So through everything, the band has figured out a way to make things work, even though
Yeah.
like given all the circumstances. That's that's honestly amazing because I remember like in the beginning I was kind of skeptical and like not necessarily in a bad way, but more of like the logistics of it, and how it was
Right.
gonna work. And I remember my dad had called me and asked me if the band was still gonna be doing things, and he's like, "So they're gonna be blowing hot air through an instrument in a building with closed space." I was like, I don't think that's gonna work. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know. But that's honestly that's really spectacular. I genuinely I tip my hats off. Like I said, the I see the pictures and it's like, oh wow, they're making it work. But you guys have really found a way to make it work. And have you guys is there any known cases that have come from the band thus far that you know
Not
of?
that not that I'm aware of, no. I
Okay.
will say that the for marching band we are doing a really good job. Students just in general, it's been kind of surprising to me like how willing people are to take care of themselves because like in the past it's been, you know how school is. It gets really stressful and we kind of push ourselves a little bit more than we need to. So that was a big concern of mine going in. Like, how are people going to react to being sick and having to miss school? So that's actually not really been an issue at all this year. Everyone's been taking responsibility and doing the right thing. If they're not feeling well, they just won't come to class. And our teachers have also been really understanding of that and attend like not taking off points if you're missing class, if you have like attendance issues. Like it's all good. Everyone's working really well together. That's been well. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. I was gonna say I forget you mentioned the picture earlier, the viral picture from the beginning of the semester,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot to say I'm actually in that class.
You are?
Yeah, the person who took the picture, I was like sitting right next to him whenever he took it. Um, but what was I gonna say? With that, like I just mentioned, how we do like we switch room to room for band rehearsals. It's the same kind of idea. Since we are playing instruments in those classes, we need to follow the same protocols with the mask and the bell covers and the air circulation. But the issue with that is that we don't have the available space. Since it is class time, we don't have the available space to move to another room after the 30-minute timer is up. So the solution to that has just been to do it outside. And a lot of people were like, how are you doing it outside? Like, that's so hot. It's at 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. The two classes that I have are outside, so it's not hot yet.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever the sun does come out, it's like in a shaded area. So we haven't had any issues with that. Whenever there is bad weather, we have a classroom space on campus. So sometimes we'll go to the classroom space and just talk, like we won't play our instruments. And other times we'll just do our thing over Zoom. So we can still keep playing, and our teachers can see what our face looks like playing the instrument without the mask on, which has been an issue if you're
Hmm.
trying to teach someone how to play an instrument. So I just wanted to go back to that because I totally forgot to mention that.
How are you concerned now that it's like getting colder that like it's gonna affect being outside?
Yes, that has been a concern, especially right now. We're playing double reed instruments in my woodwind class,
No,
which, yeah,
oh,
which
geez.
for anyone who doesn't know, those are extremely sensitive to weather changes. Like your instrument can just like crack, like if there's like the slightest change in weather, and like your reed, which you use to play the instrument, can just like break, or like it's bad. It's not very good. So that has been concerning, but we've been making it work so far. Like I said, we do rely a lot on having our Zoom days if we need to. So if it's really, really cold outside, or if it's raining, we just can't have our instruments outside. Our teachers will just send an announcement and we'll just do it on Zoom, and we'll play from home.
Okay. That sounds pretty streamlined. So what has it been like for you being a drum major in college compared to high school? Because, we were in a very competitive region in Central Texas, and like, I think it's like one of the top in the country, and it's very competitive. And, when you have that like height of competition, people take it a lot more serious, and, they want to win. So how has that transition been from high school to now?
Yeah. Well, that's a really good question, Kim. So in Round Rock, where we're from, band is like you said, extremely competitive, and the bands in that area are very good, and they perform very well in contests. And it is a bit of a shock, I think, whenever I started at Texas State my freshman year in the Bobcat Marching Band, coming from an environment where it's all about competitive success and getting first place at the contests and beating the other school, getting a higher score than them. Then you come to the Bobcat Marching Band and you find out there's no competitions. You don't have to go and compete against other schools. You don't get ranked. Like you literally just go and play music, and you go to football games, you support the team, and you just have fun, which is like I think a big shock to a lot of people who like come in and come from these really big schools that do really well and kind of pride themselves on doing really well in competitions. But you also have people that come from schools that are smaller and don't really compete as much, or don't spend as much time trying to make a successful, a competitively successful marching band show. So being in that environment, it's kind of eye-opening in a way. Like whenever you're coming from a place where it's very competitive, you kind of forget to appreciate the music and the friendships that you're making with people. So being a part of the Bobcat Marching Band is definitely, what's the right word, refreshing. Kind of being able to sit back and enjoy what you're doing rather than stressing out about being the best band at the competition. And being a drum major in this environment has been really great also, because you kind of just like I said, everything else applies. Like you just get to build relationships with people, have a good time, and like just have a lot of fun. Everyone at Texas State is an adult. Everybody, if they're doing marching band in college, that probably means that they really enjoyed marching band in high school. No one's making them do it. So everyone just has a really good attitude, and we just have a lot of fun.
And you had mentioned earlier that you were doing double read. So I'm assuming that you're going to be doing music education as a career as opposed to performance.
Yes.
And do you want to focus mainly on middle school, or do you want to do high school so you can kind of continue to do marching band?
Right. Whenever I was in high school, I was like very like I want to go and I want to teach high school and I want to be a marching band director and I want to have a really cool like a good band that like really enjoys doing marching band, like the whole marching band leadership thing. Like I want to have a leadership team and good drum majors and like all of that stuff. But after getting into the music ed program here at Texas State and really focusing on building a teaching philosophy for myself and how I want to approach teaching music, it has really changed my perspective a lot. And I never thought I would ever want to teach middle school, but I am planning on teaching middle school once I graduate. I can't really see myself going and teaching high school marching band right after college. I'm really interested in teaching middle schoolers because that's like the stage where like you kind of get kids to just fall in love with like playing their instrument and kind of build like find something. I don't know, many kids like may not feel like they have a purpose like whenever they're growing up. They're kind of figuring out who they are, especially in middle school. So whenever like you put them in band and give them an instrument, like they kind of start to create this identity of like, oh, I'm a musician, and like that's just a really special thing that I want to be a part of.
Okay, that's beautiful. That really is beautiful. I I remember when Flynn had left high school. He left us high and dry, and he had like moved to do middle school, and like it was a big shocker. And then all of a sudden, do you remember Zach Alling?
Yes.
Okay, well I'm still very close friends with him, and he was telling me that he saw Flynn at TMEA, and like he said that like teaching middle school is much more relaxed as opposed to high school, and like kids don't like fight back at you, and like a lot of the kids are like there because like they want to be there, and they kind of think it's cool, and you get to like control that interest, and that's kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I feel like whenever you're doing teaching high school can be very overwhelming, especially like in Texas where marching band is extremely competitive. Like being in band rehearsal, you remember every single day for hours, and it's so much. And you don't have your Fridays, you don't have your Saturdays. It's so much, and it's exhausting. And I think students can really, whenever they're a part of that environment, it can be a little toxic and like kind of shift.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it can
yeah.
like kind of shift the perspectives towards being better than other people rather than making music as a whole.
I relate heavily. I relate heavily. I remember going to like region and like having the region auditions, and obviously I'm a trumpet player, and the stereotypical thing is like trumpet players are egotistical and loud, and I tried not to be that way. I tried to be really humble, but like it just I love competing. I'm a very competitive person, but it did kind of just take the fun out of it, like constantly
Yeah.
having to grind and compete. And that's kind of like why I like jazz band, for example, because I felt like in jazz band, yeah, there's like region jazz and there's all these other things, but like jazz band to me, like especially in high school, is just kind of about making great music and having a good time and like talking to people after and like, hey, that was a great solo, like So I completely understand what you're saying. Do you know why now that you know more about you've been a part of TMEA and you're doing like more music education, and why is Texas so competitive when it comes to marching band and music? Like, where did that culture come from?
Um, it came from Texas football being a very
Okay.
big thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, Texas, everyone knows football in Texas is insane. So it would make sense for the marching band that plays with the football games to kind of reach up to that standard. And I think over the past few years, especially, it's become extremely innovative, like the way that marching band has kind of been evolving into more of a like an art performance rather than like this like entertaining halftime show. Like there's a lot of schools out there really trying to like make some cool stuff, which is like really appreciate like I really appreciate that. And I have seen a lot of really cool marching band shows, but yeah, like we just talked about, it can get really stressful whenever you're putting kids in that situation.
Especially like when you're having thousands of dollars put into this one show, you know,
Yeah.
and like the band fees, like you got to pay $200 to be a part of the band. That's insane. That is actually
Yeah.
insane, dude.
Like $200 is nothing compared to like from Stony Point, like whenever you're a freshman, where we went to at Stony Point, whenever you're a freshman, you pay $500 to join the band. And like it's like, oh whoa, that's a lot. But then whenever you realize that you're the cheapest school in the district and other schools charge thousands of dollars for you to be a part of band,
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's a
yeah.
lot.
Have you ever thought about doing DCI, or did you want to do it at some point?
Yeah, in high school, I like mentioned this earlier, but like in high school, I was like total marching band. Like Oh, I loved it. Like I went to DCI, or for those that don't know, DCI stands for Drum Corps International, which, in a simple way to put it, I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this. It's like professional marching band in a way. Like it's
Essentially,
yeah, it's
yeah, essentially, yeah.
yeah, it's just marching band at a really high level, and like they take kids from all over the world and like put them in these drum corps, and they practice like for so long. I think it's like 10 hours a day, like just band, 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 band. And like whenever I was in high school, that was the most exciting thing to me in the world because I absolutely loved being in the marching band. And I did go to a few auditions in high school. I would like always spend a lot of time preparing for because you have to audition to be in them, and you have to pay to audition. And I was lucky enough to be able to go to auditions because I had my grandparents were really supportive, and I always did well, but I was always really scared because I was always the youngest person there. Because like a lot of people were in college, and I was like this high school. I was I think 15 the first time I went to a drum corps audition. I was a sophomore in high school. Yeah, and I was like the only high school student there. Everyone else was in college, and I was terrified. And I got invited to the callback, but I didn't go because I was just so scared. I was like, if that was like the like anyone can go to that, I don't want to go to the callback. Like they're probably gonna be so old and scary, which like I'm not sure what would have happened if I did go. It probably wouldn't have been that bad, but yeah, I definitely did want to do drum corps in high school. But as I've started school at Texas State, my focuses have shifted a bit more to just like, I think I got a lot more into the French horn rather than the mellophone, which is the marching band equivalent of my instrument.
Well, you're really good at it. You're really good at it. In high school, you were pretty, you carried. Even after you graduated, it, it was really funny. Everyone was like, "Man, Sam's gone. I guess our French horn section's gone too."
Oh
Like
my goodness.
I kid you not. I kid you not. I'm dead serious. You can ask. You can at least ask Zach because I feel like because you did like ensembles and stuff with Zach, right?
Yeah, Zach and I were really close in high school.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He'll tell you, like, after you left, the French horn section was done. And it was so funny. It's actually hilarious. So, um, in the full orchestra,
Mm-hmm.
right, the year after you left, the French horn section, like, Miss Suzansky would, like, try so hard, and, like, it would be, we would try not to laugh, because, like, it would take them so long, and it was, like, the stuff, like, you know how they say like rehearsal is to like hear stuff that you practice on your own,
Yes.
and they were just practicing in rehearsal
Yeah.
with Mr. Dansky. So yeah, you're a beast. You're a beast at the French horn, and it's amazing to see how much you've grown. Like from when I met you to now, because like I said earlier, I've known you since middle school, right?
Yeah.
And like I remember when we were in jazz band, and you stood right next to me, and you had your little glasses, and you played the trumpet, and like I remember when you became drum major, and you were so passionate about it, and I thought that was really dope, because in terms of like me and music, I don't know. I always loved it, but I just can't. I don't see myself being like in education, and like I don't really want to do that professionally. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the level of dedication and hours of practicing a day that it takes to just be on that level, and the sacrifice you have to make. I don't feel like I'm willing to do that. So I don't know. I admire people that are passionate, and I see your passion in music, and I just think it's really awesome. Especially like I remember when I found out you're a drum major, and I'm like, it makes sense, because yeah, you've always been really spectacular, and I love to see it. I love to see it.
That's so nice, Kim. I feel the same exact way about you. This is so cool that you're doing this podcast. That's awesome. I think I've like been seeing you like on Snapchat and like Instagram and stuff, and like you're out there like doing your thing, and like it's really cool seeing you just like making stuff and like I don't know, just putting yourself out there. It's awesome.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. Like first off, like how many people from like our high school go here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it bothers me because you can't well, at least when we were on campus, you couldn't go anywhere without like seeing,
Seeing
like
people
yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah. It was like hey, but no, no, no. It's okay. But yeah, I really, I really am. I'm really happy for you, and I'm proud of you. Um, yeah. So have you do you know anything about like the jazz programs on campus? Because that's something kind of I wanted to get interested in. I'm kind of interested in, and I wanted to ask you about for maybe like the future.
Right. To be honest, I'm not extremely familiar with the jazz ensembles at Texas State. I know that there are quite a few of them. I think there were three or four last year. I think one of them recently they're not doing it anymore for whatever reason. That's a good question because I actually am interested in joining the jazz band too.
Really? What
So
would you play?
we should find out together. In my brass class, I just learned trombone for like the past 8 weeks.
Hey, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I'm like, like I'm not too bad at this. I learned flute and trombone at the same time, and I was like, oh, flute is so fun. Like I want to play flute, but then I'm like, I'm not really good at it though. Like I'm better at the trombone, but I want to play the flute. So I'm thinking about playing one of them in an ensemble next semester. I'll find out. If I get good enough, flute parts are crazy. Woodwind parts in general are just insanely, I mean, they're probably not that difficult, but I'm a brass player. I'm a French horn player. So it looks crazy to me.
In
So
jazz or like standalone like
just
etudes and
like
stuff?
just in general, like in band
Yeah.
music
Oh yeah.
specifically. I'm not really sure what trombone music would look like in a jazz band. I feel like it's difficult. It also depends what jazz band you're in because there are like different levels of difficulty. So if I can be like in like the one that is not the hardest, then I'll probably get by okay. I can get
Mm.
every other note.
No. Okay. Every other note. Yeah.
Every other
Just
note. Just like as long as I play half of it, I feel like that's enough to get credit for being in the band.
yeah. No, I understand. I don't know. It's something that I've been curious about, and I recently got Apple Music. I got like 4 months for free, so I've been listening to a lot of jazz, and I don't know. It makes me miss like playing the trumpet, you know?
Yeah.
Because I have my trumpet here with me. It's in my closet, and it's hard to practice here because like the walls are so thin, and
Yeah.
like the people above, below, and everybody in the apartment can hear me, and I don't want to be that guy. So that kind of deters me from playing it from time to
Yeah.
time. So how does the practice rooms work in the music building like during all this?
I haven't really been using the practice rooms. That was a huge concern of mine because like whenever you're a music major and like you're taking lessons every week, you kind of have to practice a lot because your professors expect you to get better. Whoa, crazy, right? But you have to practice a lot. So I was very nervous because I'm the same way. Like playing in my apartment is terrifying to me. Like just super self conscious. I think that's a musician thing in general. Just like being very self conscious of playing, and you're like, am I bothering someone? Do I sound bad? I sound bad. I should stop playing and like stuff like that. So I was really nervous. They are still allowing us to use the practice rooms. I haven't used them, I will say, but the process for getting one, I think you have to reserve a room 2 days in advance. Like there's a few practice rooms in the music building, and if you ask for one, they'll assign one for or to you at a certain time. And then I think you have to let 30 minutes pass whenever you're done before someone else can use it. And
To
like
air
whenever
it
you're
out?
in there, you have to air it out. Whenever you're in there, it's just you. And when you're done practicing, you just wipe everything down. You disinfect all the surfaces, and then you leave whenever you're done. Someone else can come in with like as long as there's like time in between,
Hmm.
so the room can air out. But yeah, there's like a structured schedule. Like you have to like reserve the room. Like you can't just go walk into one and use
No.
it,
Okay.
which is how it has been in the past. You just go find wherever you can practice. A lot of people have been practicing in the parking garage right outside the music
Are you
building.
serious?
Yeah, like every time there's actually a space in the parking garage blocked off for people to play in the garage. Like there's like a very large space. I think they have class in there whenever there's class times. I think some people have lessons with their teachers out there, and some people just go and practice out there.
Oh my. Yeah,
Yeah.
the way the structure is for music, It's pretty insane. Like I would not have imagined a lot of the stuff that like you told me now, especially like the mask with the holes. I
Yeah.
did not like when I saw the pictures. I thought they were probably just like just blowing through the horns or whatever. But that's insane. Furthermore, so how's like your classes been like since you're doing music ed and like learning different instruments? That's kind of something I'm interested about.
Yeah, so I like mentioned band already, like how we're doing that.
Yeah.
And then we're doing the instrumental classes outside. We are following a lot of the same procedures, like we wear the mask. For
No,
brass
no, no.
instrument,
Like your own, like your experience, like learning different instruments.
like
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
personal
yeah, yeah, yeah,
experience.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
So,
I care about. I care about you, not the rest of those people.
aw, so nice. I feel like it's been okay. It is pretty weird. Like, whenever we're wearing our masks, wait, like you can only see the eyes like on yourself, and like we're learning flute. So I've never touched a flute before, like in my entire life before this semester. And I'm supposed to learn how to play it, and this is how they're teaching me how to play it, like this.
Oh yeah.
So like there's no way, I don't know if you can hear me. There's no way for the instructor to be like, "Oh, Samantha, you're too far to the left." Like like how? That's crazy. But our teacher, my teacher Dr. Dennis, he's crazy. Like he's able to be like, "Oh, like you're not like I'll like play it something like on with the mask like this." Where is it? And like he can't see
Oh my
anything.
gosh.
Was that really loud?
You spooked me. I was not expecting that. But
Exactly. You never know when to expect it. Like I'll play something and he somehow knows. He goes, "Oh, like you're off center. Like you need to move to the left. Try moving to the left a little bit more, or like you need to move your flute higher up." And I'm just like, "What? Like, is this the level I'm expected to be on whenever I graduate? Because that's insane." Like he can literally give us feedback without seeing anything, and just like from hearing it, which is crazy. That's insane. So that is really cool. It took getting used to it. Whenever he would give feedback and I had my mask on, I'm just like, how do I trust you? Like that's crazy. Like how do you know this? But it works. Everyone's been getting better at the instruments and learning a lot of stuff. Especially whenever we have like our Zoom days, um, we can just do like a normal thing. You can just see me perfectly
yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
So it hasn't been too bad. Um, I will say we do a lot of teaching. Since they are teaching classes, we have to practice teaching. So like every Friday we'll do there will be a group of people in the class who are going to teach like a lesson. So doing it online is really weird. Um, like I don't know, just like imagine being in a Zoom room full of people and everyone's muted. Like some people have their cameras off and like maybe they're on their phones, like they can't see you. And you're like, "How's everyone today?" And like you hear nothing. Like it's just crazy. Or like you're like, "All right, everyone, like get your flutes out," and like they get them out, but like you can't see anything. Like you can just like kind of see like maybe a little bit of the flute poking out from like the corner of the screen. It's especially crazy in like a marching band setting. Like I was like teaching at a marching band over the summer, and I did like a little like block from their marching band rehearsal, and I was like, "Okay, everybody, like have your instruments like at set, whatever." And like whenever you're in marching band, you have to be really still, like while you're waiting for instructions and you're waiting to know what to do. So I'll be giving instructions, and everyone's just standing there still, and I'm like, "Are their screens frozen? Like, can they hear me? Like, do they know what they're supposed to do right now?" It's just like a lot of second guessing and questioning yourself, and it's just a lot of getting used to. So that's the biggest thing for me, like the whole teaching over Zoom, which I don't know. Part of me is like, wow, like yeah, like I am getting experience being in front of a group and talking to a group of people and giving instruction. Like that's good, but it's in an online setting. Like how applicable is that the right word?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
applicable is that going to be to me whenever I graduate? But then like you kind of realize like we might still be in this whenever like you go and whenever I graduate in like 2 years, like I might be teaching band on Zoom. So it is like a valuable experience that I'm getting. It's just like it's crazy, like putting ourselves in like this new reality and like kind of realizing like things might be like this for a while.
Does that scare you for like graduation? Are you a junior right now?
Yeah,
First semester or second semester?
first semester.
Okay, yeah. Does that like freak you out that we might still be living in this, like when this is in when you graduate?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it does, especially next year. Like, I'm gonna be starting like my teacher kind of track, like to getting teacher certification. So I'll be student teaching. Like I'll be out and about doing the whole band director thing. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if I'm going to be in person teaching band or if I'm going to be in Zoom teaching band next year, as early as next year. And then like whenever I can go and like actually get my job, like it's really interesting to think that I've been doing band for 10 years now, and 9 of those 10 years it was in person, and 1 of those 10 years was online, and I'm teaching through my experiences from that one online. And you are pulling aspects of like the 9 years that you were in person, but it's not the same. It's very difficult. So that is scary. Yes, it is scary, but I do feel fortunate to have these opportunities to teach online and kind of get used to it, and feel somewhat comfortable by the time I'm actually in front of a group of actual 12-year-olds.
And when you graduate, are you going to stay in Texas or do you want to move elsewhere?
I don't know yet. I've been pretty set on teaching right after I graduate, going and
Hmm.
getting a band director job right after I graduate. Especially like in the Central Texas area. Like I'm kind of was like hoping to stay in this area, like Austin-ish and like the surrounding area. But more and more, I've been like thinking about maybe going to school, like grad school, right after I graduate. I don't know. It's just a matter of what I want to do. I would like to teach band. Um, I would 100% love to teach band right after I graduate. But I think whenever you have interest in going to graduate school, it's like a matter of like going and doing it, you know? Because
Yeah.
like I feel like once I go and get my job, it's like, oh, well, my job is keeping me here. Or like, oh, like my I don't know, like maybe I'll have a house. Like my house is keeping me here, and like I don't know how likely I would be to go out and pursue like higher education again.
Um, yeah. So what would your like master's degree be? Because when I've talked to Mr. Sanchez came in right after you left when
Mm-hmm.
Win left, and when I've talked to him about like, hey, would you want to would you want to get your master's degree? He's like, yeah, I would probably get in like conducting. And I was really
Yeah,
like a master's degree in conducting. Was that like something you would be interested in or what?
yeah. There's a good amount of things I would be interested in for like a master's degree. I've always like thought like there's so much I can see myself doing. It's just a matter of like what it is going to be, you know? Because
Hmm.
like going to grad school is expensive. And you kind of like, that's like a big decision to make. Like, what am I going to get my degree in? So, like, yeah, conducting is a big thing. That, like, actually for a while, I was like, oh, like, that would be so cool. Like, I'd love to get a degree in conducting. But more lately, I've actually been leaning towards the kind of administrative like route of things. Like some schools offer like arts leadership, fine arts administration kind of programs that are more business centered, which like would kind of help you out with running a fine arts program, or like I don't know, maybe starting like a nonprofit that is dedicated to bringing music to communities that may not have as much opportunity and stuff in that realm. And that's extremely exciting to me, like that whole idea of like what can I do to like bring music to communities that don't have it. So that's like really exciting to me right now. And that's every day that starts to feel a little bit more like, yes, that is what I want to do. But there's also like the ideas of getting like a horn performance degree, because like I'm not a competitive person at all. And I feel like whenever I think of people who go out and get performance degrees, I'm like, oh, like there's these competitive people that like want to be the best on their instrument. And they want to go and like make the best audition for the best ensembles and make the best ensembles and be first chair and like do so great. But in reality, like whenever you're going and getting a performance degree, you're learning how to be a musician on a higher level. And I already know for me going into my first few years of teaching, I'm going to have trouble feeling confident in making musical decisions. Because, like, I do, like, I, believe it or not, I have, like, trouble, like, what should I do here? Should I push through the line? Should I emphasize this note? Do this? There's like so many options whenever it comes to music, and it's scary to not only make those decisions for yourself, but whenever you're a band director, making it for everyone, and
Oh
then you
yeah.
have to justify why you made that decision. And whenever you're doing that, you're kind of telling kids like this is the right way to do it. I don't
Mhm.
know. Like it's that's scary to me. And then going and getting a horn performance degree would kind of help me solidify my confidence as a musician.
So right now you're like as of right now, obviously it's subject to change. You're kind of on the fence of like, do I want to get like a performance fine arts admin and kind of like I don't know, maybe do something and help different communities for the future and have that experience and provide music to those and maybe it'll help them and give them experiences that I've had. Or you're like maybe I can do fine arts or no, it's performance French horn performance, excuse me, and kind of just hone my own skills so that way when I do teach, I'll be better.
Yeah, exactly.
And you would be happy with either, right? It's
Yeah,
kind of just,
definitely.
yeah.
If I were to do the performance route, I would probably go to grad school like pretty soon. Like maybe even like right after I graduate, just like go and get that degree and like be like, all right, let's go start teaching and like I don't know. But the more administrative route would take a while. I feel to kind of like go and establish, get some work done, do some research, establish like what my mission is, what I want to do before I start applying to schools.
Okay, understood. I mean, I can honestly, I could see you doing both really well. Because you kind of have that personality and you're good with people and like approaching people and like it's like oh hey Kim how's it going do you need help man yeah I can help you if you ever need help just let me know like when I talked about you before when I talked to you before we started the episode and it was like when I saw you and Ellie and you guys were like hey like why don't you do music hey we can hook you up we can talk to professors we'll get you in there hey I know this person here's their number I know you play trumpet you can talk to like you have that type of personality. So I could see you doing really well in either. And I never thought of like I didn't even know there was a fine arts administration. That had never even crossed my mind. So
Yeah,
I could definitely see you doing either of those things.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely that's a hard decision to try to like make. Like I said, if I always say like I feel like I'm the happiest whenever I'm a student, like going and just like absorbing information. If I could just like collect degrees, like I
Oh
would do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But that gets expensive. But I've
Oh
also been trying to do well in my undergrad so I can, I don't know, get some of it paid for through like scholarships and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get two masters and we don't have to decide.
yeah. This is the last thing I want to ask you about because we're almost out of time. So I was gonna actually ask you about this earlier, and it popped up in my head after the fact. How is the music fraternity?
Oh yes.
How is that?
That's great. You're thinking about Kappa Kappa Psi, which is the name of the music fraternity. Um, Gosh, where do I even begin? I can confidently say that Kappa Kappa Psi, joining that organization, is the best decision I have ever made. Probably, I guess joining band would be the best decision I ever made, but right behind that, joining Kappa Kappa Psi. So, so Kappa Kappa Psi is a band fraternity. We're co-ed, so anyone can join. Literally anyone, just we'll take anyone, just come join. And we're kind of established in like we've built our mission around providing service to the band programs at Texas State. So that means that we'll set up for rehearsals. I don't know if you remember me in high school. I'd always get there early and set up the band hall, pull all the chairs off the rack and all the stands, and I'm just like, wow, this is pretty fun. That's literally what we do in Kappa Kappa Psi. Like we do the setting up for band rehearsal and concert band, filling water jugs for marching band. Um, we have to paint dots on the field before every rehearsal so we can do our formations properly, and just like providing service in any way that we can to the organization. And also like we like organize service projects just to, I guess, make music more accessible to people, or just help things run smoother for any band organizations or events that are happening at Texas State. And I love doing all of that. It's so amazing. And I think what's better about it is that like we're doing it with people that feel the exact same way. Like most of everyone who is in Kappa Kappa Psi was like a section leader or a drum major or just in any role, like in a leadership role whenever like they were in high school band. So we all share like the same like kind of philosophy like on band, and the same ideas about how we want to approach things, if that makes sense. So I don't know, just having a group of people. There's like, I don't know how many people are in it right now. I think last year it was around 40. So just like having 39 friends that all feel the same way about band, and we just love band and we go and do all the band things. It's a lot of fun. It's really great.
Yeah, that's dope. I remember Sanchez told me to try and join a music fraternity, and the one he kept telling me about, he wouldn't stop talking about it. But then I got here, and I remember seeing like the big letters outside
Mm-hmm.
of the room upstairs, and I think it's dope, especially when you told me more about it, and you were like, it's co-ed, and all you have to do is like go to like different performances, right?
Mm-hmm.
To like get in, and I thought it was awesome. I wish I could have been a part of it earlier, and if I did like do jazz band or was more invested in music, I definitely would. Because it sounds really interesting and fascinating. And do you know Shane Rowe? Is he in that as well?
Yeah, he's in.
Yeah.
There's another organization, Phi Mu Alpha. That's the one that Shane.
Yeah. Okay. What's
Yeah.
the difference between those two?
Well, the Kappa Kappa Psi is a service organization, so we do like a lot of service to the bands, and we provide a lot for the bands.
Okay.
Phi Mu Alpha is more of like a, I forget what their category is. I think social or professional. I can't remember how they categorize themselves, but it's more of like a, and they do service stuff, but it's more of like a like building like this bond and like a brotherhood, which we do as well, but we do it through service, giving back to our band organizations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah. I like that. I like that. A lot of like the black fraternities on campus do the same thing, and I kind of like that as opposed to the distinction of like the social,
Mm-hmm.
because when I feel like when people think about fraternities, they think of like the pop culture perception and
Yeah.
like parties and like this, that, and the other. But in reality, a lot of the fraternities are just really out to just help the community.
Yeah, exactly.
But we are just about out of time. I really appreciate you coming onto the podcast. Uh, you are one of the biggest reasons why I ended up coming to Texas State. So thank you for that. I don't look back. I'm really happy I picked this school over UNT.
Mm-hmm. It's a great
Uh,
school. I love it here.
yeah, no, it is a great school. That's why I'm still here. I really like it as well. And again, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing. I'll keep more in touch with what's going on with the marching band, and I'll also keep in closer contact with you. I know, honestly, we're just both really busy,
Yeah.
but I'll try and do better in checking up on you and making sure everything's going well in
Yeah,
the
same.
future.
We can do jazz band together at
Okay,
some
yeah,
point.
yeah, 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 yeah.
We'll
Sounds
see each
good.
other every week.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you want to like plug? I normally tell people, if there's anything they want to shout out at the end before we cut off.
I personally don't have anything for me, but I will say, just go out and check out the bands. Like if you're going to a football game, watch the marching band halftime performance, or if you're on campus, go to a Texas State concert, like concert band concert. Um, I don't know, jazz band. There's lots of music being performed at Texas State University, and it's really worthwhile to go and check it out.
All right. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode of the Star Sit Down. Thank you so much for checking it out. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.